What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you 5 basic mini ramp tricks to get you guys started in skating mini ramps, or even just a quarter pipe if that's all you guys have got at your skate park. No matter what ramp you find, you can do all these tricks on it. It's 6 AM right now. This is my first time speaking today. I'm probably going to speak a lot of just complete nonsense throughout this entire video. It might get silly, but it might get fun. Let's find out. But guys, before we start, today's video does have a sponsor, Squarespace, coming in once again, supporting this channel, supporting me, keeping me alive throughout this entire quarantine time, this weird time. I'm scared. But guys, if you need a website, if you have any entrepreneurial bone in your body, Squarespace is the perfect place to start. You can make yourself an amazing website with zero skill required. Click the link in my description and you can upload your own content in one of their 100 award-winning templates. If you guys currently have a hobby that's a creative one and you want to turn it into your future career, be your own boss, use Squarespace today. It's easy to use, and if you ever get stuck, they have 24/7 customer support. They can help you guys any step of the way. You can literally sell anything using Squarespace. Advertise your business, your portfolio, do it all with Squarespace. Check it today. Check the link in my description. Thank you, Squarespace, and thank you guys for watching these sponsors, watching these videos, and just keeping me alive. Genuinely the dream job. Thank you guys honestly so much for watching my videos. Hit the like button for more. But guys, we're talking about mini ramp tricks today, and there's the train a way to go by. And I also want to mention, this is like a skate park video, a mini ramp video. If you guys can't currently go to your skate park, don't force it. If your skate park's closed, please stay out of it. Here currently in Scotland, it's not too serious just yet, and we are still allowed to go out for like a little bit of exercise, as long as you're doing it social distancing and responsibly. 6 AM at the skate park, there's no one here. I thought to myself, I think it's pretty safe. Please stay safe, stay at home, skate in your garden. Trick number 1 is the drop in. It's probably the most essential trick to learn on a quarter pipe, probably the first one you should learn, because before you start learning the tricks, you do have to learn how to ride in the ramp. You got to know how a ramp feels to ride down it, and the drop in is the perfect place to start with that, because it gets you guys in the ramp and gets you guys starting skating. So to drop in, you put your foot up against it like this, you put your front foot on the board, and then you lean in, drop your wheels down, and then ride down the ramp. And before you guys try this, it is probably going to be one of the most scariest tricks you're going to learn for the first time, especially if there's a bunch of other people around just watching you and waiting on you falling. But it is also one of the best things to witness other people learning how to drop in when you've already learned it and you can already do it.
How bad can it hurt, right?
But you can gradually build your way into it and make it less scary. You can start just on the flat ground, back foot on the tail, and then stomp your board down. Get comfortable doing that, and then take it to one of the smallest little banks at your park and do the same thing. And one thing to note when you're doing it into any sort of transition, your board's dropping in, you gotta lean with it. So you slide your foot in, you kick your foot down, and lean into the ramp. If you build this up gradually on smaller things and then on bigger things, it shouldn't be that scary. Just find different things at your skate park and then gradually build it up higher and higher and bigger things to drop in on, like this little kicker here. The bigger banks or mellow transitions you can get used to dropping in before you do it on a proper quarter pipe will definitely make it less scary when you first try to go for it, and you're probably going to fall a lot less likely. And then when you guys are ready, take it to like a mellow quarter pipe like this, and you kind of do the same thing, but just be prepared to like be slightly more whipped down it. It's not like a flat bank, it's got a little curve to it. And if you can find a quarter pipe like this, something that's really mellow, that jump from going on flat bank to an actual quarter pipe will be a lot less of like a big thing to try. A steep flat bank and a mellow quarter pipe are like the exact same feeling, but just like a little bit different, so be prepared for the slight difference in feeling when you're dropping in it. The reason you fall dropping in is because you don't fully commit to it. You're dropping in all sketchy and all scared. You don't focus on what you're actually doing. You're leaning all the way back, you skid out, and then you just get hurt. So that's why I'm using this method of kind of gradually building it up around the skate park before you take it to a real quarter, just to make your first one probably a little bit less just dangerous, honestly. Commit to it, don't half-ass it, and you will be fine. You won't fall. Well, you might fall, but you might not get that hurt. As long as you do all the before steps, gradually build it up, get used to the feeling, going in on your actual real quarter shouldn't be too bad. The Most tricks are just a variation of dropping in. You just kind of do it from a different position. Getting into the trick and then getting out of it, all of it requires the feeling of riding up and down a ramp. So dropping in is the most essential trick to learn. The more comfortable you are with that, the easier every other trick's gonna be. So do your drop-ins, and then the next trick is rock to fakie, and I'll explain a couple other ways to do it. So you're going to be riding up the ramp, you're going to tap your board a little bit, and then you're going to bring your wheels back in and then roll down fakie. To start off, you can just try bump your wheels over a little bit. You don't need to go like full rock to fakie, go all the way to your back truck like that. And if you find a really small ramp to do this on for your first time, you'll probably manage it really easily. Especially a ramp that's not really got a coping. If you just kind of have a ramp that bumps over like a little roll in, and then you just kind of bump your wheels over a little bit, that's also a good stepping stone to learning this on a kind of ramp that's got a bit of a coping, a bit of an edge on it, and you do need to bring your wheels back in so you don't fall. It's like the drop in, do this on every ramp at your skate park, get used to it. It should just get better and better and easier and less scary overall. And when you guys learn how to rock to fakie, you can learn the fakie rock, which is the same trick but you do it fakie, but I like to approach it more kind of switch. So if you're on a mini ramp, say you just dropped in and then you do rock to fakie, when you're coming back you want to do the same thing, switch. So you're riding fakie but you are in like a switch position, just so you can kind of bump your wheels over and then bump them and bring them back in. And if you lean your weight just like a little bit into the ramp, your wheels should just bump over, and you shouldn't really even need to lift them over too much. It'll just kind of do it on its own. Drop in, and then the next trick you guys can learn is a 50-50 stall, which is kind of like doing a 50-50 on a ledge, but you're just kind of standing still doing it on a quarter pipe. To do this, you can build it up just by doing a kick turn on a ramp and gradually go higher and higher up the ramp until you're kind of touching the coping. And a kick turn is when you drop in but then you just turn around on your back wheels on the ramp like this. So when you ride up the ramp like that, you want to ride up as high as you can, touch the coping with your back truck, and then rest your other one on. You want to try guide your board and kind of push it onto the coping. I like to kind of slide my board into it a little bit. And you don't need to commit to it first try, but just try ride up and try feel the trick out. You want to be able to ride up the ramp, start turning, kind of lock your back wheel in first like this, and then place your second wheel on like that. And that's just going to kind of give you a little edge to grip onto and stand onto when you're on top of the coping. And when you're doing it, to make it feel a little bit more comfortable, try actually stand on top of the coping like this. If you're doing it and barely riding up but still trying to get your trucks on and you're leaning into the ramp, you're going to need to jump out really quickly or you're going to fall, which is fine if you're just learning it. But if you want to kind of get comfortable with it and then learn other tricks, try stand up fully on it. And it's also going to make it a little bit less scary to do, because you don't need to just jump straight in. You can stand on it and kind of chill a little bit, and then you can go into the quarter. And just like the drop in, when you're going back into the ramp, you want to fully commit to it. Don't be scared. If you're standing on top of the coping and you're literally too scared to go back in, maybe even don't go for it. It's literally how I broke my arm for the first time. I tried to drop in like this, do a little axle drop in, and I leaned back and I snapped this arm, and I have this big scar on my arm. So only go in if you're actually comfortable enough to go in. It's the worst way to break your arm, falling back like this and then snapping it. You can also do it front side, which is like the same thing, but instead of facing this way, you're gonna face this way to the ramp. And you try treat it the same way. You manual up and then you try place your wheels on it like that, and then stand on the coping and then go back in when you're ready. I learned this one after I learned how to backside one. You guys might find it easier each way. Just play about with them both and then learn whichever one you find easier first. I found the backside easier. I also find on the front side one, I kind of scoop my board into it a little bit. I don't just kick turn into it. I really like try to launch myself out, and I feel like I get a little bit of air. So instead of just kind of pivoting in, I really go like, and I scoop myself into the ramp, just to make sure that my wheels always kind of clear into the ramp and I don't get caught up on it, and then I just jump onto my back. This one always scared me when I was first trying to learn it. And as well as front side and backside variations of this trick, you can also do both of those ways. Fakie, Trick number 4 is a tail stall, one of the best tricks to learn because it's fun. Just like a drop in, but kind of in reverse. You're gonna ride up fakie, you're gonna go into the tail, and then you're gonna go back in. It's a really good one to learn early on and add to your mini ramp trick list. It's also a good trick to just kind of reset yourself when you're doing a line. You'll be doing all your other tricks and then you'll come back into the tail stall, and then it's just kind of like you're dropping in for your very first trick. You can kind of set your feet back up and get ready to just do whatever trick you're away to try. After already doing a couple of tricks, it kind of just resets yourself when you're doing a line. And to learn it is super easy. You just want to ride up your ramp right until your wheels are away to hit the coping, and then you're going to lean your back foot in and then stand on your tail. It helps as you're kind of riding up the ramp. You want to kind of shift your body weight just like that into the tail so you can stall in it. You can actually stand and be in that tail stall before you drop back in. You don't need to ride up and then just really quickly snap into it. You can kind of ride up and then slowly get into it. So find any ramp in your skate park that you feel comfortable enough to drop in on, and then you can work on getting your tail stall. And then just like all the other tricks, there's different ways of doing a tail stall. You can do it no stall on a quarter, which is just as you would think. Instead of riding up the ramp fakie into the tail stall, you ride up regular and then put your weight on your nose, the exact same thing. This one is kind of weird because when you come back in, it's kind of like doing a switch drop in, which is a little bit scary, but it's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of commitment to do your first couple of ones, and then it's not scary, and then you can just kind of go for it. You just got to make sure that you're not leaning forward too much when you're trying to come back into the ramp, or you will skid out and you will kick your board away and you'll probably fall right on your face. There's so many police. Oh, I think there's like a big car crash down there and like a big fire. I see a lot of smoke. So when you get into your no stall, you really want to make sure that you kind of bring it back down and really get into the ramp. Make sure you really set and plant your wheels down and then roll away. Don't kind of do it all sketchy and half-ass it, because it's not a hard trick, but it is hard if you don't fully commit. And then something I like to add to every tail stall or no stall trick sometimes is a revert. So you're going to come up into that tail stall, but then you're going to slide kind of a back 180 or a front 180 out of it. Just like how you would do a little revert and slide your wheels on the flat ground. But you do it out of a tail stall or a no stall. I do honestly feel like that's harder than doing it on a real quarter though. When you do it on a quarter, your wheels just kind of slide straight down. I kind of like to make myself weightless for like a split second, which sounds weird, but if you do it, you'll know what I mean. So when you're in the tail stall, I like to just kind of float my body and then slide my wheels down, and then you gotta be prepared to roll away fakie whichever way you do it. When you're here and you slide down, be ready to roll that way because you're going fakie now. It's a little bit advanced, I would say, but if you guys can learn it, if you have a small quarter, and it's just a good fun way to be able to switch up your stance if you're doing any trick after the tail stall revert, or even just in like a mini ramp trick line. It's a fun one to do. And if you guys did learn trick number 3, the 50-50 stall, the axle stall from before, you can do a tail stall in the same trick. So you can come up, you can do a 50-50, and then you can pop it into a tail, and then you can drop in. Even add the revert into it if you want to. It's one of the cool things about mini ramp tricks, or just any quarter pipe trick. There's so many different ways to do them, so many possible variations. Both doing them regular and fakie and switch, and just adding different tricks into the same trick. Once you learn one mini ramp trick, you've really learned like 6 different tricks if you kind of switch it up and combine it with other tricks, which is something I definitely need to do more because I do not skate enough mini ramp. But this quarantine has kind of got me stuck on skating things that I don't really skate just to entertain myself here while I'm all alone. And then guys, the last trick, trick number 5, is a front side and back side disaster. I don't do them all crazy high and really pop them, but I can slide into them, and that's the way I like to do it. Before you start trying to learn this, I would recommend that you can do a front side or a back side 180. 2 flat ground tricks that you kind of do in the middle of this to pop into it, or also kind of slide your trucks into the trick. All a disaster is when you just pop a small 180 into the top of the ramp and then try to get into like a switch or fakie rock position. So that's how I do the front D, just popping a small front 180 when I get to the top of the ramp. But for the backside one, I don't really pop it that much. I just try kind of slide my wheels like this when I get to the top of the ramp, and then try to get into that back disaster position. Mainly because I've never really figured out how to pop it really high and do a really good one. When I get to the top, I just kind of slide myself into position. I'll show you guys what I mean. When you're doing it, you want to try to be really strong on your back leg so you can get a really good scoop and slide, because it's going to be kind of hard to bring it over the coping if you're doing it really lightly. It's not like just doing it on the flat ground. You want to try kind of jump a little bit and lift yourself up a little bit when you do it, to kind of try and make yourself a little weightless, and then slide into position into the back D, and then you can fakie rock back in. I also feel like it helps to get a better back D in, so you're not like all the way up on your front truck when you're doing it. If you kind of lean in a little bit, your board will be more in the ramp when you do it, and then you won't do like such a hung up back D. It is a very weird description of this trick, but it's how I like to do it and how I think about when I do this trick. If you guys have any other advice that makes it a bit easier, please drop it down in the comments. Or also, if any of those tips did help you guys learn them or get them, let me know as well. And with that, that completes this trick list. I feel like this gives you guys a good base. I feel like with all these tricks, you can learn a lot of other tricks from them. Like if you're struggling on the 50, or if you've got the 50-50 is really good, the axle style, you can then learn a feeble style or a feeble grind, which is like the same thing, but instead of two trucks on the coping, it's gonna hang off a little bit. Instead of being like this in a 50-50, you're gonna be like this in a feeble. You pretty much do the same thing you do in an axle stall, but when you come up, you kind of point your toe a little bit, bam, instead of like boom, if that makes sense. Feeble's like this, a 50-50 is like this, and then a Smith is like this, kind of hanging into the quarter. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Let me know if it shed some light on learning tricks on the mini ramp, especially if you're a total beginner, you've never been to a skate park properly, you've never tried to skate a mini ramp. Hopefully this video helps you guys kind of get used to that and learn a bunch of tricks in a very gradual and safe way. A really easy way, because you build up and you learn more tricks from other tricks. By hitting the like button, leave a comment down below some other videos like this that you guys want to see, some different tricks you want tutorials on, or even just any other type of video that you guys want to see on this channel. Drop it down below and I'll try and make it in the future. Really, thank you so much Squarespace for sponsoring another video, and you guys just being cool with the sponsors. I want to make cool videos for you guys, and sponsors are there to help me with it. So seriously, huge shout out Squarespace for being with me at this time and sponsoring these videos. And with that, we're gonna wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching, and check back in a couple of days for another video. I hope I can still skate here in like a week. I really hope everything kind of dies down and I can skate with friends. I miss skating with people so much, but at least I got you guys to make these videos. I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Goodbye.